Jimmy Kimmel, host of a late-night talk show, has once again been under fire from former President Donald Trump. However, Kimmel is not running from the attention. Instead, he is seizing it with humor and sarcasm. According to the Huffington Post on Tuesday, March 19, 2024, Kimmel responded to Trump's comments in a recent episode of his program with 5 scathing lines that he believes need to be engraved on the former U.S. president's gravestone. The former president singled out the comedian on social media during this month's Oscars telecast, reigniting the dispute between the host of late-night talk show and the Republican contender. But rather than flinch under former President Trump's criticism, Kimmel took the chance to respond, giving the roughly 20 million viewers of the live TV show a scathing rebuttal. The host of the late-night show joked, "Isn't it past your jail time?" which made many chuckle, including Margot Robbie, who is an actor. The late-night show presenter remarked, "Barbie was laughing at you," before pointing out that the slogan, "past your jail time," has been frequently used in advertisements, on billboards, and even in graffiti outside of the former U.S. President Tower in New York. Even after the Republican presidential candidate launched a series of tirades against him, Kimmel freely said on his program that he enjoys the limelight and has even urged the former president to keep going after him. The host of the late-night program said, in a belligerent yet humorous tone, "What he doesn't realize is that I love this." In a recent interview with Fox News over the weekend, former President Donald Trump, however, stuck to his criticism of Kimmel, calling him not a talented guy, a lousy host, and dumber than I thought. The host of the late-night talk show seemed unfazed by Trump's criticisms and went on to mock the former president, even going so far as to joke that Trump should keep his mouth shut. A comment that Kimmel jokingly suggested would be an appropriate addition to Trump's make-believe tombstone. "Can you picture him telling anyone that they ought to have kept quiet?" stated Jimmy Kimmel. He said, "That ought to be engraved on his gravestone. Should have kept his mouth shut." The Republican presidential candidate and the host of a late-night talk show escalated their verbal sparring to a new level when Kimmel personally challenged the outgoing president. Additionally, based on a new Federal Election Commission report, one of Donald Trump's PACs spent more money last month on legal fees than it did on donations. According to an FEC filing on Wednesday, Save America, a group that backs the Republican campaign, spent almost $5.4 million on legal costs in February and had almost $4 million at the end of the month-long reporting period. In recent years, Trump has been involved in several legal disputes. In the defamation case initiated by writer E. Jean Carroll earlier this month, he secured a bond of about $92 million after Judge Lewis Kaplan turned down the Republicans' request to postpone the imposition of penalties. Trump was mandated in January to reimburse Carroll $83.3 million for remarks he made in 2019. Judge Arthur Engoron of New York decided in February that Trump owed $355 million for his fraudulent acts. The court ruled that in order to get better terms from lenders and insurers, Trump and high-ranking officials at the Trump Organization committed fraud by misrepresenting the worth of their assets. The entire amount, including interest, will come to about $464 million. In general, the Republican candidate has had trouble gathering money. Trump's 2 fundraising committees had $36.6 million in cash at the end of January, and they had spent more than they had raised. His February numbers are still pending. Haba Madawai and Associates LLP, Alina Haba's legal practice, was purchased by Save American for $5.34 million. Haba has grown to be a significant member of Trump's defense group. She defended the former president in both his civil fraud trial in New York and his defamation lawsuit against E. Jean Carroll. As the PAC's donations were insufficient to pay the firm's expenses, at the beginning of the term, its cash on hand was $6,289,527.87. By February's end, the total was $4,081,100.52. Christopher Phelps, a modern American history professor at the University of Nottingham in the United Kingdom, told Newsweek that utilizing resources on Trump's legal costs was not a recipe for political success. At a time when Biden seems to be pulling ahead of Trump in the polls, One would think that a PAC's priority would be advertising to key demographics and building out campaign organization in the battleground states, he stated. It is not a prescription for electoral success if Trump's PAC is instead spending all of its reserves to cover legal costs. The one bright spot for Trump in this situation is that the court date for the numerous felonies that have been brought against him in 4 separate cases has been put back for a variety of reasons. This could mean that no decisions are made before the election.